This is KGW News at 11.
Neighbors in Northwest Portland are concerned tonight after what appeared to them to be a coordinated theft of a furniture warehouse. Thanks for joining us at 11. I'm John Adams. Ashley Grahams lays out what we know.
A normally quiet street in Northwest Portland was buzzing on Sunday.
I was like, what's going on? And came down here.
So many people out in the street, and there's boxes pretty much in that bike lane right there, and it was just full of boxes.
Davina Cruz lives in the neighborhood and says people were inside this warehouse at the corner of Northwest Vaughn and Northwest 25th, walking out with anything they could carry. Neighbors saw people loading the boxes onto trucks and into cars.
Oh my God, the boxes were huge. They were bigger than me.
Saw all this mattresses and all this craziness going on.
A sign on the building says Schiller and Vroman, though that business was sold in 2019. Portland police responded and appeared to secure the scene around 3 in the afternoon.
I've never seen this much cops around here in my life.
Once Portland police showed up and people started to clear out, it became easier to see what was left behind. Plastic and furniture, but also dozens of cardboard boxes. These ones are empty.
Now, as for why this happened,
Somebody said, free mattresses, free everything. And so people started coming here and grabbing stuff.
Cruz heard something similar.
And a few people said, oh, there's someone in the back saying we can grab, whatever, and directing them what they can and can't take.
A plywood sign with the word free made the situation even more confusing. KGW wasn't able to verify who put it up.
Well, still a lot of questions here about what actually happened. Who owns the items inside the warehouse? Portland police officers did arrest one man while we were on scene today, but it's unclear if that arrest was related to people taking boxes from this building or not. We reached out to Portland police for more information and haven't heard back. John?
A bizarre story, that's for sure. All right, Ashley, thank you. To a traffic update now. You don't have to wait much longer to travel on a stretch of I-5. The 4-mile section that's been closed this week is scheduled to reopen at 5 tomorrow morning. As you can see from this time lapse, ODOT needed time without traffic to work on a freeway overpass. An ODOT spokesperson says drivers should have a much smoother ride when it reopens.
I hope by the time everybody's driving over the road by 5 a.m. on Monday morning that everything is going to be smoother and better and safer. So we hope everybody will notice that we will have done our job if they really don't notice anything except that it's a little smoother and a little safer for everybody.
Well, to get around the closure until tomorrow morning at 5 a.m., detours include I-205, 217 to Highway 26, as well as 99 West and Barber Boulevard. Drivers were able to cross the Hood River Bridge again today. The Port of Hood River said the bridge is reopened strictly to passenger vehicles at 2 this afternoon. The span remains damaged after a semi carrying an excavator struck part of the overhead bracing. The port says permanent repairs are expected to start after the 4th of July holiday. Now to an update on a couple of wildfires we've been tracking. Central Oregon Fire says crews kept the Darlene 3 fire from growing for another day. It's burned about 3,900 acres so far, and it's about 60% contained right now. This is a photo taken from Round Mountain at about 10 this morning. Central Oregon Fire says they are now starting to reduce the number of crews on scene as conditions improve. And there's also more progress on the state's largest wildfire that's still currently burning. The Little Valley Fire in Malheur County is now 75% contained. Its growth has slowed, but it has burned nearly 18,000 acres. Well, turning out to weather, so far this summer has been very pleasant, but we're about to see some of the warmest weather we've seen so far this year and in this summer as well. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri is here to let us know just how hot it's going to be. It sounds like it's going to be very hot.
It's going to be very hot, and long-range models are showing basically from the 4th of July and into basically July 10th or so. We could be looking at temperatures 90 or above during that stretch. So yeah, we're going to be seeing that summer heat move in just the next couple of days is right on cue for the start of the 4th of July. So the first couple of days of the week are going to be nice. I'll talk about that later, but everybody's already keeping their eyes peeled on the 4th of July for next weekend. We'll be starting Thursday. So the 4th of July, we'll be looking at temperatures right around 90 degrees. The record on Friday is 98. I'm forecasting a high of 96 degrees. And Saturday, temperature of 95 degrees. The record is 97. So we're going to get pretty close to some record heat over the next few days. For tomorrow, though, expect to see a little bit more of an onshore flow with some spotty sprinkles here and there. You're not going to be seeing much in terms of rainfall, though. Seeing afternoon sunshine. And again, the 4th of July is going to get absolutely hot. That ridge of high pressure is just going to grow in strength day after day after day. And again, there is some models showing, John, that we could be seeing the potential for triple-digit heat later into next week. I'll talk more about that in just a few minutes.
All right, Joe, thank you. The city of Portland will begin enforcing its camping ban tomorrow. That could mean fines, jail time, or both for those who violate the new ordinance. Mayor Ted Wheeler told us earlier this week the city handed out leaflets on the streets to warn people in advance of the new rules. Here's how it's going to work. A city outreach worker will first target camps causing the greatest community unrest. If shelter is available, they're going to offer it up. If homeless people refuse that shelter, that's when police will be called in. If they still refuse shelter, police will either put them in jail for a week or give them a $100 fine, or both.
If you refuse to comply after you've been offered carrot after carrot after carrot, in comes the stick. And the stick is a fine or a jail term or both.
So if you were offered shelter, what would you say?
If there's a couple one that our dog can come to, potentially, but if not, I probably would not take it.
So you would choose jail or a fine over shelter?
Yeah.
And again, someone will only be fined or put in jail if they refuse shelter when and only when shelter is available. The city said it is also working to open up more shelter space. New tonight, the Department of Justice wants Boeing to plead guilty to criminal charges related to a pair of deadly crashes involving its 737 MAX jets. Family members of victims were told about the DOJ's plans in a meeting this afternoon. Our Seattle sister station has been talking to people who were in that meeting to learn more about the offer.
Boeing expected to face criminal charges, but for the families who lost loved ones in 2 deadly crashes, the Department of Justice isn't going far enough.
Most victim families are frustrated. Some were pretty vocal.
Tacoma attorney Mark Lindquist has represented dozens of those families. Many have reached settlements, but one client is still seeking justice. They were in a virtual meeting Saturday with the DOJ, giving them a heads up about their plan. A deal allowing Boeing to plead guilty to criminal fraud in connection to the 2 crashes that killed 346 people in 2018 and 2019 in Indonesia and Ethiopia.
They feel like Boeing's been dodging responsibility for several years, and they were hoping for DOJ to really bring the hammer down.
It comes just over a week after Boeing CEO Dave Calhoun came face to face with some of those family members in Washington, D.C.
And I apologize for the grief that we have caused.
It's a little hard to swallow, quite frankly.
Javier De Luis lost his sister in the Ethiopia crash.
She adored her nieces, they adored her, and it's very sad what happened.
Graciela De Luis y Ponce was, among other things, an interpreter for the Vatican.
I am floored. I am disappointed. I'm just flabbergasted that the Department of Justice can in any way think that this is an improvement over what they did before. It's yet another sweetheart deal, and the public will pay the price.
Boeing will have until the end of the week to accept or reject the offer. If they take it, they'll fall under the oversight of an independent monitor. If they reject it, the DOJ plans to take Boeing to trial. This all started when the DOJ determined Boeing violated an agreement meant to resolve a prior conspiracy charge. The company blamed low-level employees.
Evidence in this case is just absolutely overwhelming. They can't go to trial. They've got way too much dirty laundry to risk a highly public trial.
Now, this plea deal, or the company, was put under scrutiny after the Alaska Airlines door plug blowout over Portland back in January. We've been following celebrations all across Oregon and Washington throughout Pride Month. Today, it was Beaverton's turn. At 11, the city kicked off its 7th annual Pride celebration. It started with a parade that looped back to the farmers market parking lot, where they held a celebration with live music, a queer circus, and a variety of local vendors. We spoke to one attendee who says just being there can have an impact.
It's so important just to recognize that everybody has a right to love whoever they want. Be here for and support in every way we can, build a community, make sure that our children understand there's nothing wrong with being in this community.
Celebrations don't end with Pride Month. Portland Pride will hold its waterfront festival the weekend of July 20th.